activists are applying pressure to restore net neutrality. So this is a very positive development here. Net neutrality supporters launched new campaign to reverse unpopular FCC decision. Fight for the Future presents lawmakers with two options: bring back net neutrality or lose their jobs. So 83% of Americans disapprove of the repeal of net neutrality. I mean, that's a super high number. And of course, in a democracy, they should have looked at that and went, oh, sorry, we're going to scrap the whole plan because you guys despise what we're about to do. But no, they move forward. Perhaps because they're not representing us, they're representing the internet service providers and the telecom industry, which, by the way, gave $109 million to Congress. Wow. You wonder why, everybody's kind of sitting around like, oh, I guess the FCC destroyed net neutrality, because those congressmen and congresswomen are taking money too. But it's so sad. So what this group is going to do is they're going to educate voters and text them about how their congressman and senator votes. So under the Congressional Review Act, the FCC decision can be overturned by a simple majority vote in the House of Representatives and the Senate. But Congress only has 60 days to act. So in other words, the FCC is, an agency, an executive agency. And they made this decision, but Congress can override it. They could override it within 60 days with a simple majority in both houses of Congress. Okay, well, then fucking do it. Why are we having this conversation? Again, 83% of the American people say, we don't like what they just did, so what are you waiting for? Well, guess what? According to Fight for the Future, only 29 senators so far have said they would vote to overturn the FCC ruling via the Congressional Review Act. Isn't that amazing? So the American people are clearly on one side, and the Democrats, to be fair, I think it's only Democrats who are in favor of, bringing back net neutrality. But it's only 29 senators. So that means there are many Democrats who are not in favor of that. In fact, let me give you their names. Cory Booker. Wow, Cory Booker doing the bidding of the telecom industry and not the bidding of the people. Carper, Casey, Coons, Donnelly, Cortez Masto, Feinstein, Heitkamp, McCaskill, Manchin, Menendez, Murphy, Murray, Nelson, Tester, Udall, Warner, and Al Franken. There's an asterisk there because I guess he's not there anymore, right? But these are people who, I guess they've either said, no, we're not for this, or they haven't said anything, and they're not co-sponsoring, or whatever the case is. But there you go. There's your hashtag resistance. There it is. The Democrats can only muster up 29 senators to say, let's keep net neutrality. And then they wonder, man. These assholes wonder. Man, I don't get it. Why did we lose 1,000 seats under Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer's leadership? I don't understand. How did Hillary lose? I don't understand. Well, perhaps it's because you don't fucking stand for anything. Perhaps it's because at least half the party in Washington are totally useless. You're Republican light. You're very similar to the people you're pretending to be against. So my radical idea is, if you actually stood for something, then the people will stand for you and go vote for you. Because they'll go, oh shit, they're fighting for me. Look at what happened. You had, you had the Republicans destroy net neutrality, then every single Democrat stood together to say, we're going to fight to bring back net neutrality because it's what the people want. And in fact, we're going to put tremendous pressure on some of the so-called moderate Republicans to flip their vote and be with us. They could do, if every Democrat was on the same page, they could go out there and say, I want everybody out there to call Susan Collins' office and make Susan Collins support this. Why not? Maybe you could actually win. You might actually be able to win. And then you have to rely on the Democrats in the House to put the pressure on the Republicans in the House and do a similar kind of campaign to get them to flip the vote. And, if they were all on the same page and we're all making an argument here, hey, we're for the will of 83% of the American people, they're against it. So even if you don't win in the short term and you don't get to keep net neutrality through this avenue, at least you have a great argument for the next election where everybody will go, oh shit, they actually fought to keep net neutrality. Let's all go vote for Democrats. Hooray! But no, when you sit on your fucking ass all day and you don't back the legislation that makes sense, And all you do is scream and yelp about Russia and this president is unfit to be in office. Let's talk about how he's deranged and how he's demented and he doesn't have the mental capacity to be there. When all you do is these bullshit surface arguments, then people look at you and go, I get it. I understand your points. You don't like Trump. You think, Russia's controlling the government, and then what? So in other words, you have Democrats who stand for nothing who try to make it seem like they stand for something. I'm against Trump. I don't like Trump. Then why aren't you supporting the continuing resolution to save net neutrality? I'm against Trump. Yeah, but why aren't you supporting? I'm against him. I don't give a fuck about your vanity, your facade, your show. I'm against this person and I'm going to give a press conference where I wave my finger. I don't care. What are your fucking votes? And they think they could pull the wool over the eyes of the American people, and that's what's so frustrating. They think what do you mean? We're anti-Trump, which is why we sat around while they fucking destroyed net neutrality and didn't do anything to stop it, even though we can do something to stop it. You're not fooling anybody anymore, man. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Bernie Sanders vote to, hey, let's import drugs from Canada to cut the price of them massively. And then you had a bunch of Democrats, what was it, like 7 or 8 Democrats, who were like, no, we're against that. What? You're against getting cheaper drugs by re-importing them. So then you're just saying, I'm on the side of the pharmaceutical industry and I'm against regular people. And they had bullshit rationalization. Oh, this isn't regulated effectively, and it's not, they could be dangerous drugs. Right. Canadian drugs, really fucking dangerous. And it's not like they don't have regulatory bodies there. Of course they do. Their drugs are fucking fine. It's just a lie, because they're bought by Big Pharma. But people caught on to it. And on Twitter, everybody was like, fuck you, you're wrong, fuck you. Cory Booker sank his chances to get elected in 2020. And then he realized it because everybody on Twitter was like, you're a fucking sellout and a piece of shit. And then it was so bad, he came out a few weeks later like, no, did I say that I was on the side of Big Pharma and against regular people? Anyway, here's a bill that's just like Bernie Sanders, but it allows the FDA to regulate it. So now I'm a working class hero, right? Right. This is just unbearable, man. Come on, Democrats. Fucking stand for something. Fucking stand for something. Make a case. Don't just do your bullshit. I'm not him. I'm not that guy. But if you're sitting around while he destroys the country, then you're a lot more like him than you'd like to admit.